Treasurer, you're trying to get that positive message out about Labor's management of the economy during the global financial crisis, but it's been completely overwhelmed from damaging leaks from within your own party. And your reaction to those leaks seems to be there's nothing you can do to stop them. Is that right?
Stories like this surface frequently.
Not quite like this. Leaks from within cabinet in the election campaign.
Fran, they have on both sides of politics. Now, the point I made last night is that we should not leap to conclusions about their sources. I've been around in politics for a long time. I've seen stories like this from both sides of politics over time, and I simply made the point that we should not be leaping to conclusions about the sources.
What does that mean? Because it is a leak from within a cabinet meeting. There can't be many sources.
So it is said. I cannot speculate about that. What I can do is what the public of Australia want me to do, which is not to talk about stories that journalists have put to air, but to go out and talk about the issues on the ground. And what is the issue that this story is about? This story is about two of the most important issues and two of the most important initiatives that this government has put in place over time.
And this leak from within your side is allowing Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey to say this morning that the Prime Minister is not a true believer in paid parental leave.
The Prime Minister is a true believer in paid parental leave. The Prime Minister is a true believer in increasing the base rate of age pension. I work with her very closely. Our Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, has a fantastic and true commitment to supporting people on the lowest income. She's done it in the industrial relations system, and she did it through this process, this difficult process that we went through to put in place the single biggest increase in the age pension in generations. And we did it in the middle of a global recession. We worked through all of the issues associated with putting in place the savings to make it affordable, and Julia Gillard, with myself and other members of the Cabinet, worked this through and have put forward the most significant reform to the pension in generations. That's a fantastic achievement for the government and for the country.
You're the Deputy Prime Minister. Have you tried to do anything to stop these leaks? Have you spoken to every Cabinet Minister to try and find out where it's come from?
Fran, my job is to go out and talk to the people about our plan for the future to support
your job is also to try and prevent chaos from within, isn't it?
Fran, I said to you before, I'm not going to go through speculation about where stories may or may not have come from. These sorts of stories appear on both sides of politics. When I go out into the community, when I'm in Mackay, when I'm in Cairns, when I'm in Darwin, when I'm in Perth, what people want to talk about is what we are going to do to invest in infrastructure to ensure that growth is sustainable. What they want to know about is what we are doing to boost superannuation. These are the questions that people are talking to me about. Journalists may well to ask me about these questions, and that's entirely legitimate. But what I'm going to talk about is our program for the future and the contest between Prime Minister Gillard and Opposition Leader Mr Abbott.
Don't voters also want to know that their government is in a good state to manage the country? Here's the point being made by Shadow Finance spokesman Andrew Robb.
No, Fran,
let's listen to what Andrew Robb said.
The discipline in the federal cabinet, the government of Australia has collapsed. It's disappeared. It's a dysfunctional government, and it goes to trust. How can people trust a Gillard government to manage all of those affairs of state when they've got no discipline or unity?
How can you?
Fran, because we've got the runs on the board. One of the strongest growing advanced economies, one of the strongest growing, the creation of 350,000 jobs in the past year. Compare that to Europe, compare that to the United States. We avoided recession, almost alone amongst advanced economies. We avoided recession. Fran, we have got a very good story to tell. We got the big economic decisions right, and the Liberal and National parties got them wrong.
Just finally, Treasurer, in your home state of Queensland, there is poll upon poll telling us that people there are uneasy or unhappy about the way Kevin Rudd was kicked out of the top job. He's a former Prime Minister. He's a specialist in foreign relations. Would it be a gracious gesture from the Prime Minister to say now that Kevin Rudd will be the Foreign Minister in a second-term Labor government?
Well, the Prime Minister has already said that he'll have a senior position if the government is re-elected, and that's fair enough. The most important thing for us to do is to get out there and campaign, and that's what Kevin is doing in his electorate.
Treasurer, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Federal Treasurer and Deputy Prime Minister Wayne Swan.